Hello and welcome to Chopped Greens, the inaugural show.
Yes, sir.
This is Philip Amerine, your host, and with me is our guest host for today, Gary Boucher. Welcome to the show, Gary.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of an Oscar show, but before that, I just want to introduce us to the audience because with any first show, you got to create a knowledge about yourself. So, my name's Philip Amerine. I was a student who just recently graduated from ASU. Specifically pertaining to movies, I have been watching the Oscars and movies. Well, I've been watching movies since forever, as long as I can remember. Like my first memories, earliest memories are of me watching movies. And just a short story, my mom used to call them adult movies because like I would go see, I don't know, like let's just say the Titanic or Man on the Moon or what have you, like these like actual movies, and I loved them. Like I wasn't as interested in Barney and all this stuff. I did love Barney, but not as.
There's something beautiful and mysterious about seeing the grown-up movies. Even if you don't get it, you're like, I love that.
And I would say this to my mom's friends. I'd be like, "Oh, are we gonna go, Mom? Are we gonna go see an adult movie?" And they'd get the wrong idea. Yeah. And so, but point is, I don't think I've even missed an Oscars since my like 8th birthday. Oh, yeah. Like my mom has made it a big staple in my life, and I've been watching movies as long as I can remember. I have a love for them, and I'm really glad that we have this opportunity to talk about it. How about yourself, Gary?
Well, that's one thing everyone can connect on is movies. Everyone, no matter of race, class, gender, political affiliation, nation of origin, everyone has a favorite movie. Everyone can, like you said, trace a memory back to a movie. Now, to myself, I'm a current ASU student studying screenwriting, so writing movies is my major, and I'm also a film and media studies major, so most of my homework consists of me sitting in my living room with my pug, watching old movies and analyzing them, and it's amazing. So
I must ask for the audience, the pug's name is?
Mona.
Oh, Mona. Is it off of the recent Oscar-nominated movie?
Of?
Moana?
Are you saying Moonlight? Moonlight?
Moana?
I didn't see Moana until after I got her, but I thought, I was like, I just kind of segued into calling her Moana, and my girlfriend was like, no, it's Mona. I said, well, it's just one letter. We could just Moana. Let's just change it.
I wonder if the dogs can tell a difference. Like, that's not my name, Ruff.
Her brain is so small. Moana, she runs up to me no matter what it is. So, I use it pretty consistently.
And you have a movie blog, correct?
I do. It's called Gary Boucher Reviews. Check it out. We're averaging in the dozens of views per month right now. It's up and coming, but, every time I see a movie, I like to review it, and I'm always taking suggestions, and I love doing it.
Hey, shameless plugs are always welcome if you're willing to guest host on this show.
If you guys want to see us pop off about our opinions, this is the place to be.
All right. I think any show about the Oscars has to start and obviously end with the host. Because I think we look back towards years and it's either defined by the movie or the host. that hosted the Oscars. So let's start there. Jimmy Kimmel, ranking out of a 1 out of 10 system, what would you give him out of a 10 being the best Oscar host you've ever seen? Somewhere around there.
Let's see. All right. Well, best Oscar host I've seen in my lifetime, first I'm going to say is Ellen.
Really?
Ellen is a master.
Wow.
She and Jimmy are both pretty inconsequential in the sense that, last year Chris Rock came, and what he did, I thought was pretty necessary with the whole Oscar so white situation. You couldn't have like a more controversial and awesome host than Chris Rock. Jimmy Kimmel, kind of played it safe. I would give him, let's say, a 6.5 to 7 out of 10.
That's more than respectable. So you enjoyed him. So he wasn't a Seth MacFarlane. He was definitely a nice addition to the line of Oscar hosts.
Yeah, I thought he was a solid host. He's been one of my favorite late night guys for so long. I love his sketches. I love his gimmicks. I love how smug and self-deprecating he is. I love if you've seen his segments with his little friend Guillermo getting drunk on the red carpet.
Oh.
He had one of these people who used to be a bodyguard on his show. He goes to the red carpet and he takes shots of tequila with stars. He's got like 20 videos and they just get hammered before the show, and it's great.
I've never seen the Jimmy Kimmel show, but I've seen the Jimmy Fallon show. So
yes.
You think Jimmy Kimmel's a little bit better?
Different.
Different. I've heard that they're both fantastic. The Jimmys.
The
Jimmys. Oh my goodness.
Like once again, Jimmy is more general. Like he even came out before the show and said, everyone on both sides of the aisle is really tense right now. I'm just going to try to make it fun for everyone, which is totally respectable. I think everyone was kind of on the edge, being like, with the election season, like, what are they going to talk about? And he made like a few jokes, like he tweeted at Trump, which was pretty funny and everything. But
the you up, the sliding in your DMs
right?
Tweet.
But I mean, in general, like he played it safe, but he was funny, he was relatable. With that big blunder at the end, he closed the show off pretty well. So I would say he was good, but not great. I would say it's 6.5 to 7.
All right. No, I actually really wholeheartedly agree with you. I think that he was a little bit self-deprecating too much, because in the mood you're just like, he's like, I knew I was gonna ruin it anyways. It's like that Eeyore complex that you're like, I didn't know how funny it was. Like I thought, not to get too far towards the end, but at the end I thought that it he didn't per se save it as more the producer did. I think his name is Horowitz or whatever.
Jordan Horowitz. He was so graceful, actually.
I think how he reacts, because he took charge, and if he takes charge and reacts in a different way, that whole thing crumbles and it becomes a scandal more so than just like now we'll look back and see it as a big mistake, which is a very discernible difference. Yes. A scandal as opposed to a mistake, which it was.
Someone got fired.
Somebody,
Someone got fired.
I heard some people at the law places that run it definitely did get fired. With Jimmy Kimmel, I think one of the things that I always love about any host is their stunts. And so he had a couple. Yes. He had, of course, as you previously mentioned, the Twitter tweet of Donald Trump. That's right. Never got a response, to my knowledge.
I was so surprised. I thought that he would reply back and be like, "This is stupid." Yeah.
Probably. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. And he had the cookies and Skittles and Junior Mints, Twizzlers fall down from
it was not as good as the whole Girl Scout cookie thing, I thought. I thought that was a lot cooler. But it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And then finally, the big one, I would think, the planned one. I mean, obviously the biggest one was the ending.
Yes.
But the planned one was the tour bus
stunt.
The
busing end of the tour bus, yeah.
Now, my question to you was that the best stunt ever? Now, we've got a couple, like you mentioned earlier, we have Ellen's selfie. I
was literally just going to say, Ellen's selfie breaking the internet.
We also have Whoopi Goldberg flying in to host the Oscars.
Yes.
We have a lot of precedents. I mean, now they've been kind of overdone, but like we had Billy Crystal start out with putting himself in all these movies to start out the Oscars, and which at the time was a novel idea. He kind of continued it. Where does that, is that probably the best one? For my money, I thought it was.
It's like, it's one of the most, I think, ingenious and most memorable. Like at first, it was hilarious, but then there had these people, and they're like, who's your favorite actor? And this lady's like, oh, Denzel Washington, and they
that
come
man
up and,
right there.
Yeah, it was, and they're all freaking out and everything. I thought that was really cool because you got to see it on these people's faces.
Those were natural reactions.
Yeah,
I mean,
at first, I did so much research. I was like, is this a gimmick? Like, do these people know? Are these people like extras? But no, this was like it had been planned by the producers, but these people had no idea. And I thought that was pretty great.
I thought that was something that has not been done before, obviously.
Yes,
that was creative. Genuinely hilarious. Like, looking at the people, you see the woman with the selfie stick who has her eyes fixated on Denzel Washington. That couple I think that couple, which included the selfie stick woman and the other gentleman from Chicago, and they got married by Denzel Washington. That was hysterical.
I was like, that...
And the one gentleman asking for to hold the Oscar, and no, not only ask, he didn't even ask. I don't think. More so, he went up and grabbed it and asked the gentleman to take a selfie take a picture of him, not even with him.
Go man.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of balls.
Yeah.
To go off and like, to do that.
Yeah.
And I think whenever it also takes a lot of courage to go up there and give a speech. I mean, it's one thing to host the Oscar. It's a self-deprecating job because everybody's going to hate you, and very rarely does anybody love you until 5 years later. Then they ask Billy Crystal to come back and back and back.
Yeah.
But I thought one of the more courageous moments was Viola Davis winning for Best Supporting Actress? Best Supporting Actress, and her speech. That was, to me, that was one of the top 3 memorable moments of the night.
Yes, beautiful and relatable. Just the way she started it off. There's a place where everyone ever who's not successful meets the grave. And she went on. I think she went on for like what, 3.5,
It was one of the longer speeches, that's for sure.
They didn't boot her off. They were like, "Oh no, we're letting her stay," and because she had this planned out. Like you said, she was probably the biggest lock, I think.
Oh yeah, we're going into this whole show, and obviously I think La La Land was considered to be a lock, but in the end it wasn't.
Yeah, awesome.
But which is awesome. We'll get into that later. Yeah. But I like the odds were in Vegas, at least for those interested in the betting aspect of it. She was considered to be the biggest lock of all the awards of the night.
Well deserved. And a long time coming. I mean, she's so powerful.
I think she had, out of all the candidates, I think she had one of the better scenes. Where when winning an award, you really need a standout scene, a standout moment, just something that, while watching it, you are so emotionally invoked, yet you're also just sitting there and you know that you're witnessing greatness and you're witnessing a moment that is so pure and true that you feel as if you're them, that you feel that you are Viola Davis's character in that moment.
Well, and Fences, it's not like surrealistic like La La Land or even Moonlight is intimate, but it's very stylized. Fences is straight relatable.
I thought Fences was one of the better Viola Davis moments. It just highlighted her. She had one of a just standalone monologue, and she owned it to the nth degree. I felt emotionally charged to get up and move out of my seat to and I think you can't do any better than that.
You're talking about the one where she said, "What about my life? What about me?"
About
my
life?
She's tearing up and.
It's so genuine. Like, so many times you see moments like that in other movies, and it doesn't deem a requirement. Either you roll your eyes or whatever. And I think what was beautiful about Fences is that if I were to tell you the events of what was to happen and what was like the dramatic aspects of that movie, it doesn't sound. It sounds. It does sound made up. It sounds like Maury or something that would come on late night TV. It doesn't sound real. But when you're watching it and you're going through it and you're going through this journey, you totally buy in it, and it totally comes around natural. And the actors, Denzel and Viola Davis, they both come off so well in it. And I thought Viola Davis had the best point of the night.
That's not, talking about her monologue and monologues in film in general. Quick note: the play written by August Wilson,
of course, super
popular. August Wilson also adapted the screenplay, and it's super similar because a lot of times you have to do a lot of butchering to a script for the stage if you want to get it on the screen, but it translates like really seamlessly from the stage.
It felt really like a play right off the top. Yeah. Like, I think that first scene is very inconsequential, but it's a necessary evil where you're like, this is kind of weird, but once you get into it, you realize it's a play as a movie, but you don't mind it. And it's kind of like those movies where it's like 5 hours long, but you don't mind it. In this instance, it shows that it's a play, and it's written as a play, and it comes across slapping you in the face with that. But but you kind of like it.
Yes.
But another slap in the face of the night, I thought, was Suicide Squad winning an Oscar.
Oh my God! Don't get me started.
Oh no, I want to get you started, Gary, because full disclosure, we were together watching this at your Oscar party. I don't know if anybody's not allowed to hear this because you didn't invite somebody, but but when they said Suicide Squad, I thought somebody shot you. You like dropped to the ground. And
I had to take a lap. I had to get another beer. I was like,
I had to get another beer.
Maybe the worst movie that's ever been put on the screen as far as money put into it and the results that come afterwards. Just a complete and total shitstorm. Yes, they won an Oscar for Best Makeup. That was probably actually one of the highlights of the night. Was arguably the worst movie ever, winning the most prestigious movie award you could get, which is an Oscar.
So it'd be a bit more of a low light to you.
Yes, I mean that's going to be memorable in my mind. Like that movie, a movie that should have never been made, has cemented itself in movie prestige with an Oscar. Like,
wait, when you say a movie that shouldn't have been made, you don't even think anybody else could have done it better?
Okay, well, that's fine because the great characters that the DC universe has, these beloved characters like Batman and the Joker and Harley Quinn, but you got to admit that the studio, Warner Bros., just completely trashed it.
Has there been a movie that they haven't trashed?
Ever since the Harry
Like
Potter
from the
yeah, I was
DC
gonna say
standpoint.
ever since the Harry Potter series ended, they're like, what do we do with all of this? Let's copy Marvel. You know, they tried to make Suicide Squad their Guardians of the Galaxy, and it just crashed and burned, and it won an Oscar because this is the year where you can be completely terrible and yet still win big.
Oh my goodness. I
Just think of the Joker, Jared Leto, with a makeup tattoo across his forehead that says "damaged."
that's your ideology of them accepting the Oscar.
It's just
And you know that this means that there's going to be a sequel. I don't think it was directly because of the Oscar.
No, but I mean, now it's got more incentive, I guess. And it's crazy because it got such crazy critical backlash, and then the backlash got backlash. Everyone came in, they're like, well, critics don't know anything. I love Suicide Squad. It's a cinematic achievement, getting all those characters on the screen, and it's such a great action-packed movie.
I don't know what fell through. I feel like it's one of those ensemble movies where you get all these great people. Like, what were we just talking about? Fences. Viola Davis is fantastic.
You give Viola Davis, Jared Leto.
Jared Leto's
one of the most
fantastic.
respected character actors, Margot Robbie, Will Smith. These great people.
And they all come together, and then the script just totally sinks them all through.
I was gonna say it's the culture at the studio that they're creating, and it's the script. I mean, that movie for 5 minutes. It was an action movie for 5 minutes. It was a freaking like zombie horror movie. There's no consistency. Also, the editing and the effects and the visuals are just like make you want to throw up.
I thought at the beginning it had a nice couple high points. Like I thought right after they all have the cliche suit up moment, that's where it started to fall down for me. That's where it started to take a big stumble and lower its quality in film.
I was going to say, I mean, right in the beginning when each character had like an 8-minute introductory vignette, I was like, what is that? Like, where is this going?
But you had to, though. I mean, I like comics as much as the next guy. Like, I went to the library and I would research Spider-Man. Like, that's the only way I could do it. And I didn't even know Captain Boomerang or, I guess that this is as good a time as now as any to say this in this podcast, but there's going to be a lot of spoiler alerts.
Yes.
So if you don't this is a podcast about movies, so beware of spoiler alerts. If you don't want to know something about Suicide Squad, fast forward through this part.
All you have to know is that it's probably the worst movie ever made.
Yeah, so really, we're probably not spoiling it because it's spoiled already.
You're never going to get those 2 hours back.
But when they kill that one villain, I didn't even know. I didn't know who that was, and you knew as soon as he came on that the guy who had all the grapple hooks.
Oh my god!
You just knew he was
wasted.
dead.
You know, it's funny. He was one of the guys, wasn't he, who got like an 8-minute vignette? Like I was gonna say.
No, he didn't.
Oh, he didn't.
No, he just showed up, and they were like, add them to here, and then him and Katana.
A lot of those characters, like the fire gangster guy and the crocodile, like they all had these long introductions, and at the end of the movie, I didn't. They couldn't make me care. You know, I wasn't changed at all. Like, and I got 8 minutes of watching these whole characters' backgrounds, and then the guy with the whole pink unicorn. See, I don't even remember who these people are, and there's such. It's doing a disservice to all the fans because these are obviously beloved characters. I'm not super into the DC comics, but the fans should be outraged that they're taking these characters and just
they're not serving them justice.
Exactly.
Yes, and kind of along those lines, when we hear of big events in Americana lore, we think of the Super Bowl, we think of the Oscars. Mm-hmm. Those are probably the two biggest American TV events.
Yeah.
Maybe like the NBA Finals. Like we can think of it, but at least it's the Super Bowl and the Oscars. And what come along with those are the commercials. And I don't know if you paid much attention to the commercials, but I did. Mm-hmm. And I thought the weirdest commercials were the Walmart receipt commercials. Did you see any of them? There were 3 vignettes.
Are those the ones with all the directors?
Yes. Each.
I was like, what is Walmart doing?
Yeah, no, they I kind of like the premise where they had a specific Walmart receipt and they had each director.
Oh, you're talking about Yes.
Now you're with me.
Now my brain's jarred. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
And they all had to use these items and incorporate them into a
film?
30 or a 30-second commercial. And the last one was all right, where they kind of like had a musical dance for each item. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Outside of those, the second one where the little girls and like in like a Zombie Apocalypse didn't really ring true to me. The first one with a rubber ducky UFO kind of feel to it. I just thought it was a failed commercial.
I vaguely remember these. I just remember being like, what is Walmart? Why is Walmart doing this?
Well, I wanted to kind of use this to just go a little bit deeper. For the Super Bowl, I didn't think that they were very good commercials either. Like, they didn't hold up to the standard that their predecessors have.
There were a few good ones, but in general, I was actually really kind of let down by the number of meaningful commercials in this year's Super Bowl.
So you like the meaningful ones. I find the ones with more value hold to be the ones that have comedic value.
Oh, for sure.
That make you laugh.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you have a good mix of both because there were a few cool refugee commercials. I remember a few years ago there was that one about the domestic abuse and the girl called to order a pizza and she just like kept on saying, I can't remember exactly, but if you looked it up, you could find it really easily. But and then you are right. There was a shortage this year of hilarious commercials. I did notice that.
Right, and I think that for both the Super Bowl and the Oscars, I tend to remember, maybe it's just me, maybe that's just my preference, or maybe companies are trying to send a bigger message, but I think that the ones with comedy ring more true. You think about that's how the GoDaddy commercials gained notoriety. I mean, through comedy, like raunchy comedy, but it was comedy.
Those GoDaddy commercials are some of the most memorable Super Bowl commercials, actually. I remember those started getting big around when I was probably like 10 or 11, and I was just like honestly, I was just infatuated. I was like, what is GoDaddy.com? Yeah, I want to make a domain. You know?
Right. Doesn't everybody?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody even knew what they were at the time. You're just like, GoDaddy or whatever that thing was. And you're like, what is a GoDaddy? Like, at the end of the commercial, you don't know what it is.
Nobody actually knows, but then you go type in GoDaddy.com. And
and then
this
is like, very boring.
It's just to make a domain name. But then anyone who actually needs to make a domain, the first thing they're going to think of is GoDaddy.com.
GoDaddy.com. You know? I think, speaking of things that we'll remember when you need something, I think that looking back on these particular Oscars, 2017, everybody will remember it as the one that they had a big mistake towards the end.
Probably the biggest mistake in live TV history. It's up there. It's up there with some of the biggest host flubs. Definitely the biggest Oscar mess up.
That's a given. It's the biggest mistake in Oscar. I mean, nothing like this has ever happened. And it happened at the pinnacle. Like, everybody waits to see.
Everyone was holding their breath. We were like, and then there was like the 10-second lead up of them like awkwardly looking at the envelope.
Can we be honest here? I thought that Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty. Yeah. I thought Warren Beatty. I thought that they were a little intoxicated enjoying the night. Maybe a senior moment at first. That's what I thought watching it.
They were high. They were drunk, or maybe
well, high. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I can see Warren Beatty hitting a bong at this age, but yeah, no. I thought that something. I mean, you could tell instantly that something was wrong.
The second, it's funny because I went back with all the context of what happened, and I've rewatched the clips, and I just imagine what's going through his head when he opens it up, and it says Emma Stone, and they look at each other.
What do you do there, Gary? Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know anybody could have done any
what he
better.
Did, he just handed it to her.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody forgets that. Everybody credits the actual saying mistake to Warren Beatty because he owned up to it. Yeah. But Faye Dunaway was actually the one who was took initiative and was like, La La Land.
She was just so uncomfortable, and because it was such an awkward moment that she just took the envelope and she was like, I want to get off the stage.
Because he showed it to her. He was like, and the winner is, and then he shows it to her and she grabs it, La La Land. Yes. And then afterwards he apologized. So everybody credits the blame on him, but I didn't think it was. I think he was on the verge of being like, you know what, I'm sorry, everybody.
I have the wrong card.
I think this is confusing me.
I mean, honestly, the blame is on the producer guy, stage left, who for some reason handed out the wrong envelope.
So, do you think that this was planned?
Oh God, no.
No. Because we're still talking about this. What is this? 4 days later?
Yeah. No, I don't think it was planned because I think that everyone wants the Best Picture winner to have their moment. Right. And Moonlight sort of got robbed of their moment. They kind of came up and everyone's speech mainly consisted of, oh my God, is this real? And actually the director of Moonlight, Barry Jenkins, had a planned speech. And it's actually posted online. If he were to win, he was going to give the speech. He didn't give it. He just went up and was like, oh my God, he won.
I think it robbed both of them of that moment.
La La Land at least got like 2.5 speeches out, like full thank you, this is our journey speeches, and then they got off, and then Moonlight didn't really get that. It was just kind of a what is happening.
Right, it's going to be more, I don't think, looking back on this Oscars, it's not going to be looked back on as Moonlight's Oscars, which it usually is. Usually you go back and you're like, the Titanic.
Return of the King.
Return of the King.
Yes.
And you go down the line and you're like, oh, that was the year of, you know,
yes.
or maybe it was the year that something got snubbed, like Saving Private Ryan or something, and you're like, that was the year that happened.
Now it's the year of the big gaffe.
Yes, and now we will look back on it, and I also wonder if Jimmy Kimmel's going to be associated with that, going back to where we kind of started. Do you think he'll be asked back? I thought he did a decent job.
Yeah, I thought he did a well enough job. I don't know if he's going to be asked back.
I mean, I think that what he did. Obviously, I don't think the mistake was associated with him. My favorite theory on that is that I've heard that there are 2 envelopes in case something happens to the other one.
Yes, that's what it is. They have the main one, which the winner gets to keep, and then they have a spare, just in case. And someone gave out the spare.
The spare. Mm-hmm. Because I heard that they gave Emma Stone her envelope.
Yeah, but Leo, you can actually see him on camera. He leans over and he says, keep this, like it's really meaningful or whatever. And then someone still... I read that some guy was tweeting about Emma Stone, and it was the guy who's in charge of handing out the envelopes. And in the middle of the tweet, Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway rushed on, and he was like, oh, here. And he gave him the wrong one.
Ooh, so tweeting and handing.
That dude's never going to work again.
No, you can't tweet and hand out envelopes.
Don't tweet and hand.
Don't tweet and hand.
Lesson learned.
But yeah, I think he can come back. I didn't think
he didn't do anything to like make him be blacklisted from the Oscars. No. I could see people like Jimmy Fallon getting a chance to feature. I mean, I could even see James Corden. All these late night guys are great. And if they're gonna start going with like late night hosts, there is a nice line of people who could come in and I think do a great job.
You know, I didn't prep this for you before, but who was the worst Oscar host for you?
I will give you like in recent years, actually.
It's kind of hard to think back. Everybody kind of says
Neil Patrick Harris. That's what I was going to say.
Oh, no.
Neil, I love Neil. And
he did a fantastic job on the Tonys.
And he's hosted Tonys 5 times or something. He came in and his Oscars. Maybe it wasn't his fault, but the whole thing felt like contrived and awkward, and really didn't live up to I think what it could have been. So he was a big letdown for me, and I was like, man, Neil, what's going on? His stuff didn't go over as well as I think it could have.
I don't know if that's just the audience or what it was, but yeah, I kind of remember that now that you say it. My worst, and it was by far James Franco and Anne Hathaway.
Shoot! Oh, you're right. Oh my God, why didn't I say that?
That was the worst. For one.
Oh God, that was off. That was the Suicide Squad of the Oscar host.
James Franco just should not host. Nothing against him. He's a fine actor. 127 hours was fine. Whatever. Anne Hathaway, Princess Diaries, enjoy that.
She's great.
But they just were dead.
She was trying. Anne Hathaway put her soul on that stage, and James
did not.
The minute he walks on, he's like, "Hello and welcome."
I thought that eventually they were gonna flip a switch, and it would be like, okay, this is the joke that James Franco's monitoring.
I think that he was doing that to be like deadpan funny, but when you're at the Oscars, you have to put a little emphasis. You can't really be that deadpan. Yeah.
The only again we're having recent memory affecting us, but I think that Jimmy Kimmel's really the only one who's kind of gotten away with that.
I was gonna say it's funny because he's actually smug and deadpan, but James Franco was just uncomfortable.
It was very monotone. Yeah, didn't work at all.
It wasn't funny, and we all know James Franco. He probably smoked a fat one before that show. Or I
you're
don't know
right. You said it, not me, but I do agree. But
of course he did.
Maybe he played a little Bob Marley before.
Yes, he and Seth were chilling in the not locker room, Jesus, in the dressing room.
Yeah. You got to switch that mindset,
right?
Most awaited host that you would like to see host the Oscars?
Who would I like to see?
Would you like me to go first, so that way you kind of think about it?
Yeah.
Besides Steve Harvey, that would be fantastic as a nice follow-up. I actually do think he's a fantastic host, but I just think he got a raw deal on the Miss Universe pageant. I think, ironically, because we just came off of Who was the Worst Host, and it's a couple, I think Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, I think that they would be incredibly smart.
They are queens. They would be great.
Their humor's smart, it's witty, and it translates.
And everyone loves them.
And I really, I
That'd be
don't think that, I mean, they don't need a whole lot other than how smart they are. And I think
Yes.
that translates to everybody, and everybody would really appreciate their sense of humor.
Definitely.
And I think that they could both pull it off. How about you? What do you think?
All right. Well, first off, so Chris Rock was like a dream come true for me because he's one of my all-time favorite stand-up comedians, and so I was just enamored the whole time. I've loved his stand-up. I've gone back and watched all of his HBO specials from like the '90s. He's great. If we're gonna, first off, like my favorite all-time comedian is Bill Burr. If you've heard of him, I think he'd be fantastic on that
Really?
stage. Yes.
Does he work though? Only because even Chris Rock, even though yes, he is a stand-up artist. A comedy artist. He also is a movie star.
Yes,
in
Bill Burr is definitely like only a pretty. I mean, he has a Netflix show, but he is a stand-up guy. He's not like an actor. He's not like a Hollywood bigwig or anything
right.
like
I mean,
that.
To your point, Jimmy Kimmel hosted it. And he hasn't been in any movies.
Yeah,
except
but
for...
he's known for hosting and having
Right.
celebrities with him all the time. Bill Burr, not so much. I just think he's hilarious, and he can work a crowd like no one.
Throwing this out to you, The Rock. Do you think The Rock could do a good job?
He was gonna be my next guy.
Okay, there you go.
Was Dwayne Johnson. He's terrific.
See, I think he's got the charisma and personality. I think he'd have to have really good writers.
Yes,
but I think he could pull it off if he had that.
He can own a stage. Everyone loves The Rock. He's just getting more and more and more powerful in Hollywood. I think he'd be a great choice.
All right, there we go.
Another guy, random sleeper, who I love. Who it's never gonna happen, but Ricky Gervais hosted the Golden Globes.
Yes.
Just gets smashed on the stage and insults everyone. And that's obviously something that stays in the Golden Globes because that's where everyone gets drunk in Hollywood and has fun. But he would, I mean, just to see him just trash the Oscars.
I think that'd be fun for the audience. But my question to you would then be: do you think that he works on I think that we've kind of seen all that we need to see out of Ricky Gervais. I think kind of like Carrot Top. Like once you see one,
he's not gonna. And the Oscars, part of the fun, like why I have an Oscar party, is because it's very like hoity-toity and prestigious, and you got to have someone who can be funny and relatable, but it's also like
Otherwise, you get another Seth MacFarlane. I feel. Yeah, and Seth MacFarlane, I was really hyped. I thought it would work, and it kind of fell flat on his face.
I appreciate him, but no.
All right. Speaking of falling flat on our face. Why don't we go forward now to Give Me 5 right after this musical interlude. All right, welcome back to Give Me 5. This is the part of our show where we both ask each other 5 questions. They don't need to be about movies. They can, of course, if you so choose. And they can be about whatever you want. 5 questions to you. I've got 5 questions for you. You got 5 questions for me. All right, Gary, you want to go first or second?
Yeah, I'll start off.
Fantastic.
Side note, for the purposes of our first show, I did 5 movie-related questions.
Fantastic.
So
that's up to your choice.
We're gonna start really broad.
Okay.
Get to know you a little bit more.
Excellent. Delving in.
What is the first movie you remember watching?
Ooh. See, I know the first movie I saw, but I don't know that if I remember most of it.
You have just like there's a vague memory of like a scene or a shot of like a movie way
Right. The first movie I ever saw was The Pelican Brief. Random movie. That's with who's Pretty Woman? Who's Pretty Lady? Everybody in the audience has it on the tip of their tongue.
They're all shouting it right now.
Yeah, it's also with Denzel Washington. He plays opposite of her. She's in Erin Brockovich. Oh, it's just out of my head. Sandra Bullock?
Wait, is that?
No, Erin Brockovich, Pretty Woman. I always get her mixed up with Sandra Bullock. Anyways.
Julia Roberts,
America's Sweetheart.
My goodness.
Oh my goodness, that is embarrassing. But anyways, that was the first movie I ever saw. But the first movie I actually have memories of watching. If it's not, I think it was the Rugrat. Oh no! I'm sorry. Okay, so did you say the first movie in theaters?
No, just like what's the earliest memory you would ever have of watching any movie?
Any movie, then it's Grease.
Grease.
That was my first movie, and yeah, that's definitely in there. And it's amazing how going back in time now that I'm older, I've seen it in like different phases of my life, like from when I was young to when I was in junior high to when I was in high school to when I'm now where I'm at now. And in each phase of my life, it just like it clicks, and I'm like, oh, this is dirty. Oh, this is really dirty. What in the heck is? But it's so nuanced that you don't catch it. All right.
You want me to give you mine?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
So I thought about this. The first movie I ever fell in love with, side note, Star Wars is like my life. huge
Yes.
fan. A New Hope.
I see a tattoo over
first. I've got a few littered around my gross body. A New Hope, obviously, was the first movie I fell in love with. But the first movie I ever remember watching, I remember my grandpa. He and I have like very fond memories of my grandfather and I sitting in his office like watching like the Justice League and Batman Begins and stuff, and we watched the first X-Men movie that came out in like 2000.
Oh,
He got it on DVD, and
yes.
my mom was like super against me watching like a PG-13 movie when I was like 4. But he took me in, and I really wanted to watch X-Men. I have very faint memories of like watching like Hugh Jackman, which is like the part I was like 4, and my grandpa and I just like bonding over
Your first slasher film.
the old. I know, right? The old. Those are some rad movies too. Those old X-Men movies, you know.
Yeah,
So
they
that's
don't
the
age
first
well,
one.
but they were great in the time.
For nostalgia, for what they are, I will
Yes.
always love them.
Oh gosh, I remember the Daredevil movie. I used to think that was good.
No.
It doesn't hold up, no. All right, my first question to you: Conan O'Brien hit the streets in Mexico City this past weekend, asking the citizens of Mexico to help donate towards the funding of President Trump's notorious border wall. Of course, this was all in jest.
Just didn't happen.
The late night host jokingly offered signed autographs of the president and satirical tote bags for every 1,000 pesos donated towards the funding
How
of
much
the
is
wall.
1,000 pesos? Like $10 bucks ish.
That's not the point,
Okay,
Gary. That's
I'm
not
just
the
like-
point.
keep going.
Just order a whole chicken for 50,000 pesos. We don't know. But my question to you is, what is the most embarrassing way you have tried to raise money?
Okay.
And I remember you in high school. That's how we know, full disclosure, how we know
Yeah,
each other in
yes.
high school. I've seen you without your shirt on sometimes, and you were out there hustling for Girl Scout cookies for your sister or what have you. I don't know if something popped up in your mind.
Okay, first of all, I have to see this clip because, like, oh god, Colin, you are a human treasure. The most embarrassing way I've tried to raise money. I remember playing club basketball in high school and being really uncomfortable going into like weird situations like in less nice areas
Okay.
and selling
That's code word for really bad area.
bad areas. And I am like such an awkward person and just like approaching random people and trying to sell anything from like duct tape to cookies and just
Duct tape, you say?
duct tape, just like
I love duct
wares,
tape.
like raising money for the school or for the club team and stuff like that. Just, oh man, that's a very specific question. That's all.
Well, that's all I needed.
I mean, I get really uncomfortable at work. Also, just having to upsell to old
Oh,
people.
yeah.
I work at Starbucks, and
Do you want a side of macchiato with your caramel?
exactly, and you know we're supposed to offer certain bargains, and I work in Sun City West. It's in the heart of old people
Oh
town.
yes.
And it's like, why would I want that? I'm like, why do I do this? You know.
Right. Yeah. That's totally reasonable.
Yes. So all right. So I have to turn my question to you now.
What's the most embarrassing thing I've done for money? I probably.
Oh, is this raising money for a cause or just for money? In general?
I just put it generals.
Oh, geez. Okay, well, my first year, one of the worst experiences of my life, so I'm going to cut you off real quick. When I went to Grand Canyon University, my friend David gave me $5 to eat, like, an entire, like, little mini cup of wasabi.
Ooh.
And I was sick, and I had, like, hot, like, burps
Right.
and, like, terrible stomach problems for, like,
Right.
3 days. And it was not worth $5. Do not eat. It was,
Was it
like,
wor-
3 spoonfuls of wasabi.
Gary.
Yes.
Was it worth 10?
Honestly, like yes, because you can
Oh, it was worth 10.
spend $3 on Pepto-Bismol, you got $7 in your pocket, you'll be fine. But not 5.
But not 5.
Not $5.
Forget $5. $10 is the limit.
Yes.
All right. My most embarrassing off the top of my head is probably I had to dress as a woman for best Christmas pageant ever. I was in a show with your mom, and I had actual cantaloupes because we were part of the old ladies, and we just if you've seen the show. Excuse me, if you've seen the show, you know what I'm saying. I am a beautiful looking woman. But still, having to paint my toenails on stage is very embarrassing. Even at the very, even though I disregard it, it's still very embarrassing.
You gotta own that, man. I let my younger sisters do it all the time. They get a kick out of it. You just cover up with some socks.
As long as you don't kick out of it, because then you might kick out an eyeball.
I get some
while
crazy kicks out of that painting.
All right, Gary, I've got a game for you.
Yes.
I have been visiting the Twitter UberFacts website, so all these come from UberFacts.
Oh.
I am going to give you
Okay.
3 facts. One of them I completely made up. I want you to tell me which one I made up.
Okay.
I've got 5 sets of these, all right? You ready?
Yes.
We're going to see how you do here. All right, fact number 1. In America, you're officially older than half the country once you turn 37. All right, fact number 2. The texture of Cheetos is engineered to be addictive. Since they melt away in your mouth, your brain believes they don't have any calories. All right, that's fact number 2. And fact number 3. A beluga whale's call travels the longest distance, traveling on average 27 kilometers. So is it the 37 years old, is it the Cheetos, or is it the beluga whale's call?
I'm going to go with fact number 3 as the false one.
The beluga whale?
Yes, because I feel like
It's longer. Oh, just the explanation?
Yes.
Yes, you totally caught me.
Really?
That is completely
right?
false. I completely made that up.
Yes.
All right, you're 1 for 1. Here we go. Fact number 1. 46% of couples admit to engaging in Netflix cheating. Netflix cheating. Watching Netflix shows without their partner, even when they've agreed to watch it together.
What was the percentage?
46%.
46%. That seems low.
Okay. Fact number 2. Creators of Splenda, Janie, Robin, and Ivy Gershwitz, came up with the 3 colors for the sugar packets based on their birthstones. That's fact number 2. Fact number 3. Eating spicy food releases feel-good, quote-unquote, endorphins, making it one of the reasons why people enjoy it so much. Now, all these are pretty lengthy, so that kind of takes out your advantage you had over me last time. So are we going to do Netflix cheating, Splenda colors based off of birthstones, spicy foods, and feel-good endorphins?
That Splenda thing seems completely feasible. I'm going to actually say number 1 is false because I think it's way higher. Because I'm guilty of that.
And I'm just going to show you the picture. I completely got you. That's a completely true fact. According to UberFacts again. I'm not making these
UberFacts Twitter.
UberFacts Twitter.
Don't tweet and hand out
So
cards.
you've got 1. You're 1 and 1. I completely got you on that one.
Which one was made up?
Oh, I completely made up the Splenda one.
Are you serious?
Wasn't that fantastic?
Wow. That was like, I was like, wow, that's so mean.
And I did that with my girlfriend, and she completely sniffed it out.
Really?
She was like, "Wait, Splenda only has 1 color," and I was like, "Oh, I forgot.
Wait,
It's the rest of the packets that are different colors."
Oh my god, you're totally right. I was thinking because I work at Starbucks,
Right.
I throw Splenda in coffee
Right.
all day. I was like,
Right.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I got you on the coffee. All right, here we go. Fact number 1, Cheerios used to be the name Happy-O's until the company was sued in 1938 by a dentist for copyright infringement. Fact number 2, according to a study published in the Journal of Human Resources, older siblings tend to have higher IQs than younger siblings. Shout out to my younger sister. And Americans collectively spend between $700 million, and $800 million yearly on Valentine's Day gifts for their pets. So again, that's Cheerios used to be Happy-O's. Older siblings have higher IQs than younger siblings, usually. And then Americans spend a lot of money on Valentine's Day gifts for their pets.
I am going to say number 2.
The older siblings?
Yes.
You think that's false?
I think it's the opposite.
You think it's the opposite?
Yes.
I completely made up Happy-O's. I feel so proud for myself.
Suck.
And in case my sister really does watch this, she's probably the smarter of me.
That's what I was saying. I was like, why are you supposed to be following me?
My
Must be true.
See, you're the better brother. You put him ahead of me.
When you guys listen to this 10 years down the line, remember this.
Remember this. All right, here we go. Next one. Fact number 1: the Korean word for panda literally translates into English as fat, hairy banana. Fact number 2: a French man is suing Uber for $48 million, claiming that a glitch in the app allowed his wife to discover his adultery. Fact number 3: in 2015, Cristiano Ronaldo, the football player, gave his agent a Greek island as a wedding present. All right, so we got a Korean word for panda, literally translates to fat, hairy banana. French man suing Uber for $48 million because of adultery. And then Cristiano Ronaldo gave his agent a Greek island. The Uber?
Yes.
Fat Hairy Banana didn't ring any bells. I completely made that up.
I thought that was.
Wasn't that really good? It's so ridiculous.
Up until the last moment, I was like, you know what? It's probably the Fat Hairy Banana. Then I was like, wait. Why is he suing them for $48 million? That's not feasible at all.
Oh my goodness.
I said that because I'm taking French right now, and so many French words are just like so overtly ridiculous. Like if you want to ask someone in French, what's that? You say, God, I don't even know how to say it right now, but it literally translates to what is this that this is here. It's just insane. So like foreign languages are done. So that's probably true.
You are. I am so happy I got you the Fat Hairy Banana. Ah, that's fantastic.
I'm terrible.
Oh man, you're gonna have to tweet that out later. I am a Fat Hairy Banana.
I am a Fat Hairy Banana.
All right, last three. All right, you ready? All right, I've gotten you on 3 of these. No pressure.
I need to get to 40%.
Yes.
That's a good 3-point average at least.
All right. Fact number 1. A new study out of Maine proves that the foulest smelling area on a human is actually behind the ear. Fact number 2. Massaging your dog's ears gives them a natural high, stimulating major nerve branches and releasing pain-killing endorphins. Fact number 3. Cursing raises our tolerance for pain by about 50%. All right, is it foulest smelling area is behind the ear? That's fact number 1. Fact number 2, massaging a dog behind the ears gives them a natural high, or cursing raises pain tolerance by about 50%. Can I get a drum roll, please? You absolutely got that right.
Yes, because I mean, how can the behind your ear?
I was thinking maybe it
smell worse than a butthole.
I was thinking maybe if people, are sweating and it just has a build-up.
Honestly, at first I was like, that's probably true, because like whenever I take a shower, I don't like make a point to scrub behind my ears.
And that's where I thought the phrase might come in handy on with me. Make sure to wash behind your ears. So I thought maybe I might get you. All right, your turn.
I've got another movie-related question.
Excellent.
This one's kind of random, but it's something I think about often. So I want to hear what you said.
All right.
So, of all the actors and actresses working in Hollywood, what is one male actor and one female actress that you think could get nominated for an Oscar in the next 5 years? Totally unexpected. Like someone who's not considered a conventionally good actor, who you predict to be nominated for an Oscar. Actor and actress.
Well, let me speak out loud here and just think out loud. I think... Oh, it's between 2 for me, because I think
Name
that...
both. I got 2.
I think it could be either Owen Wilson, who's been doing a lot more serious stuff lately, like especially with like A Midnight in Paris.
Oh, God.
That was pretty great. But you know what? I think my choice, if I had to bet, the whole Philip estate on it, which is, trust me, not much.
Yeah.
But if I had to bet all of it on somebody within the next 5 years, I'd have to go with Paul Rudd.
Oh, that's an excellent choice, actually.
I think that he's so likable that if he were to break his mold of doing comedic stuff and kind of go more serious route, kind of follow in the footsteps of Robin Williams and Steve Carell, I think he could actually pull that off.
We're totally in Paul Rudd sense.
Yeah, we're all living in his years and we're all just living.
Yeah.
And then for women, probably something along the lines of. I could see something along the lines of like Tina Fey, actually.
I was literally thinking one of those.
Right. I don't know about Amy Poehler. She kind of really does kind of strictly stick to comedy, and Tina Fey has been she did like Whiskey Tango Foxtrot or whatever that was. Yeah. So she's kind of ventured out forth from there, and I think that she probably has a chance. Who do you have? Because
for male actors, I have 2. One of them is, I think, actually not that crazy, is Adam Driver, a guy who I think who has shown through all of his indie work that he's a really powerful dramatic actor.
Okay.
Second one, someone who's been really popular but not really considered a good actor for a long time, is Channing Tatum.
Oh yeah.
I think he's really. I mean, he rose to the occasion in Foxtrot.
Foxcatcher.
Jesus.
I got you.
Because you said Foxtrot.
Yeah.
Foxcatcher, where he really held his own with Carell and Mark Ruffalo. I think he could be a guy who, if he does more dramas, I think
I love that movie, by the way. I just thought about that.
Right?
It was so eerie that it was good.
Exactly. And actually, I got dragged to the movie theater to see Magic Mike. The person who took me hated it. Magic Mike is actually dramatically a great movie.
No.
What? I love
Gary.
Magic Mike. It's fantastic. It's compelling.
No.
It's fun to watch. Great movie.
I will say though, it had a great trailer. Like the trailer almost by itself, because like I love that song.
See, I saw the trailer and I was like, this is gonna be dumb, and then I ended up loving it.
All right, and you're for your actress.
For actress, I have the rising star of SNL, Kate McKinnon.
She is insanely talented.
I mean,
can we all just stop and give her a second of just? She is pure talent. She's like the Bruno Mars of comedy.
Of comedy, yes.
She is insanely talented.
We know that she has a talent for impressions and for comedy, and I think that that's going to translate really well into acting. I could see her doing like some.
She could do a lot of character work at the very least.
Comedy, drama kind of stuff. She'll come in. I think that she's feasibly in the next 5 years could get like a lot of hype.
She could easily do something like Natalie Portman did this year with like Jackie. You know, just like a character of
the tough thing is Jackie might be a little bit too dramatic because I think everyone's going to expect her to be funny. So
I don't know though. I think once they break that mold and it's like Charlize Theron, everybody thought that she was just an ingenue.
Yeah.
I think it's feasible that you can break that mold that you're in.
Yeah, it's hard to break through for someone who's famous because of comedy, but
that's true. It's much harder. Like Robin Williams, like I said, Steve Carell.
Yes, that was a big one with Steve Carell actually.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
No,
not at all. All right, Gary. My next question. I have been on a Shark Tank binge, and the show. Yes. You know Shark Tank, the show where 5 sharks get pitched investment opportunities by various entrepreneurs.
Yes.
I've got 5 Shark Tank products here for you, and I want you to tell me if the product or company is real or if I completely made it up.
And okay.
So these all these deals that I'm about to give to you, they've all been accepted, but I either made them up, so they just weren't even on the show, or they were on the show and they've been accepted. They were actually made a deal. All right, and then I'll tell you who did them. All right, here we go. First one, the Ho Bowl. A bowl that allows easy cooking and reheating with an attachable battery. Perfect for every outdoorsman. Is that real or not? And for all those listening, I'm not giving him anything. I'm stone faced right now.
It's actually terrifying. That's fake.
You're saying that's fake?
I'm saying it's fake.
I thought it was a great name, but yes, it's completely fake.
Yes.
Isn't that a great name?
Yes. The Ho Bowl?
The Ho Bowl. All right. You're 1 for 1 here. Number 2, Toy Guru. It's the Netflix for toys. Consumers can go to the Toy Guru website, pick toys that they would like to receive, then Toy Guru ships directly to their house. Perfect for those picky children. Shark Tank or not Shark Tank?
Yes, Shark Tank.
Yes.
That is a total Shark Tank product.
Yes, and Mark Cuban invested in it.
Oh, really, Mark?
Yeah.
Wow.
Said it was one of his biggest failures.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it was him and Kevin. Anyways, next. Hillbilly clothing. People who love the country can now embrace the Hillbilly label and be proud to adorn it. Coming in a variety of shirts, shorts, and hats, now everyone can be a hillbilly. And I said it's perfect for everyone. Because everybody's got a little hillbilly in them. Is this Shark Tank or not Shark Tank?
Shark Tank.
You're 3 for 3. This is amazing. Yes. Anybody? Any idea who would invest in that? Just off the top of your head, just give me a name.
Actually, I forget the guy's name. He's the guy who started FUBU.
Draymond.
Yes.
Draymond.
Well, just because he's a clothing guy.
Right. I think he partnered with him, but it was Jeff Foxworthy in a guest appearance.
And a guest.
Yeah.
Oh, and a guest shark.
That'd be fun.
Actually, okay, that makes total sense. Jeff
Right. Isn't that an easy comp? All right, next is Body Jack, the last piece of exercise equipment you'll ever need. Includes 8 resistant bands to ensure you get the perfect workout and works every muscle group by using the innovative Body Jack mat. Perfect for anyone looking to shed those last 20 pounds. Shark Tank or not Shark Tank?
Just because of the prevalence of exercise equipment right now, I think that Shark Tank would not accept that. That's what I'm saying.
It is a real item, and
what?
it was made a deal by Barbara Corcoran, and she said it was, all these are like the worst deals that they ever made.
Oh.
She gave him like $180,000. Never saw that again.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, last one. These are called reading glasses. Specialized glasses with language comprehension software that reads aloud anything the user sees in literary form. Perfect for the nighttime reader. Shark Tank or no Shark Tank?
Fake. Shark Tank.
Yeah, that is fake. I was thinking
Technology's not quite there.
Technology's not quite there. I was thinking maybe like the Google glasses
Yeah.
would get you there.
So
All right,
it's 4 for 5 right there.
Yeah, you're pretty good.
I brought up my average to what, 6 out of 10.
Yes, out of all the games that I have, you got a 6 out of 10. All right, tagging you back. Your turn.
Okay, but I was gonna say I didn't do Shark.
Oh yeah, yes.
So, another movie question. What is a generally universally loved movie that you do not like? A movie that everyone goes crazy about.
Okay. I absolutely cannot stand, and I can't watch it. Oh, it's between 3. I have 3 that fit that description, but I'll just go with my top one. Bambi.
Bambi.
Oh, it's so boring, Gary.
It's probably one of those films that's loved because it was a milestone, not because it was actually.
Oh, it's so boring. Oh, like the first 10 minutes of it. It's like literally just like we're getting a bunch of scenic pictures of of not even animals. It's like the forest, and then finally it's like finally we come upon this owl, I think, who says like the king is born. Then we go through another 10 minutes of them just like rushing to this disgusting birthplace with
I gotta ask you, are you a fan of Disney?
Oh yeah, no, I love Disney in general.
Okay, cool.
But I'm just saying that this by itself is an atrocity. And then the only character I really liked maybe was like the mother. And then like halfway through it, they send an awful message of killing her,
and she died.
And then she died.
Yeah.
And then somehow the father comes back and he's like, well, I mean, I guess they were trying to go realistic with like deer like leave, but good lord, I mean, and then like a fire happens, and that's the big like antagonist of the whole thing. It was just boring from start to finish. I can't watch it. Other notable mentions though was like Napoleon Dynamite and Elf. I just can't stand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I usually like other Will Ferrell movies though too. Did you have any in mind?
Just as a side note, we didn't tell each other these questions beforehand, and Phil had quite a lot to say about Bambi. Like he was ready. He's been ready for that question for years.
I hate that movie. It is so incredibly boring.
Yes. So mine, I guess I've got 2. I've got one older one that I really didn't enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I watched this in my film studies class in high school. My teacher hailed it as the greatest movie ever made. It was Vertigo. Alfred Hitchcock.
Really? I just saw that recently, and you didn't like it.
Well, I think I might need to rewatch it, but I remember like generally loving most of his films and being like, this is the most overblown crap I've ever seen. One that's more recent, that's not like heralded as like an American classic, but that everyone like went crazy about that I couldn't stand when I talked about this, was Rogue One.
Oh yeah.
I'm a giant Star Wars fan, and to the moment that the screen turned on and I was in the theater, I was like, this is, I mean, I give Star Wars movies incredible benefit of the doubt. I'm like, these are going to be amazing. I love this. Rogue One, could not watch it. Boring, shallow, and a total letdown.
I completely agree. It looked beautiful, but it was boring.
You look as beautiful as you want. You don't have good characters, you don't have a good movie.
That's correct. All right, my next question. I've been watching Locked Up Maximum Security on Netflix, another Netflix classic TV show that nobody ever hears until you watch it.
Is that a reality show?
It is. Like, they just go inside prisons, and yeah, and I've been watching it with my girlfriend this past week, and seeing that whole dynamic has just been absolutely fascinating. You know how they have these tiers, and they just, they create relationships that are different. Like, even they place them in cells that are different. Like, they won't place racists with, like a black and white guy together. They won't place, certain groups together. They won't place, they'll just place. It's really weird. It gets fascinating to see like how those relationships happen in a confined, like separate environment and reality. It's actually like a big psychological like view on how people act in an enclosed space with their rights taken away. But all this is to say, my question to you is, what role would you serve in prison? And would you be able to survive prison?
You mean like as far as...
Okay, so are you like the snitch, or are you like going to be like the cafeteria worker, the smuggler? Or are you just going to be like a guy who's like trying to live?
I think that so I like to fantasize myself as being like hard-skinned and like super badass, but it's fun. I feel like I've thought of this
we all live in delusions.
Scenario. Yeah, and I am not that guy. I would definitely be the guy who goes to the library, puts in his like good service, like stays away from the yard and gets out. My personality. Fantasy Gary is like the leader of the prison gang, like beating up the snitches. Real Gary is the guy who is nice to everyone and gets out early.
And do you have a nice boyfriend, Bubbles, to help you with the library?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am Bubbles.
Oh, you're Bubbles. That's
well,
They call me Gary Bubbles Boucher. I'm Gary Bubbles. I'm Gary Bubbles Harry Banana. They call me Harry Banana.
Side note, for those who are listening, didn't win Best Documentary this year, but an excellent film you should watch. It's called 13.
Oh, yes.
The prison industrial complex.
Heard nothing but great stuff.
Yes, and super informative and, like, almost, I would say, necessary movie for everyone to watch.
Okay. All right. Back to you.
Well, who are you in prison? I want to know this.
I don't think I make it. I'm too pretty for prison. I mean, I'm not even that I'm banging.
Well, I mean, if we're going to go that broad, I'm getting my ass kicked in prison.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
I think I don't even know how to describe, because I'm way too, I mean, if we're stereotyping here, I think if I were to go into those, like, where it's actually racially divided thing, I'm way too Americanized for the Mexicans, and I'm not white. So
yeah, I was gonna say you're not even a white person.
I know. So I think I would probably be the outsider who'd I'd probably have to smuggle something, or I don't know. In order to survive, I'd probably have to be probably that guy that helps in the laundry that gets some stuff for everybody, like down the system.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You gotta put the heroin up your butt and smuggle it around.
I don't want to think about it, but you got to do what you got to do.
Maybe you're that guy.
Maybe I'm that guy.
You're not gonna be the enforcer.
That's right. Or maybe I'll start the jail choir. It would probably be a rap group, but no. All right, back to you.
All right, so I got another actor question for you.
Fantastic. This is your last one, yes?
One more after this.
Okay.
We have time on the show. It's kind of similar to the last one, but this one is a two-parter. Give me your most overrated and most underrated actor working right now.
Overrated. Overrated, underrated. And it can be actor, actress.
Actor, actress, yes. Entertainer, actor working right now.
I don't even know if she's rated, because everybody I think she's bad, but then I gotta go with her, I guess. Kristen Stewart is completely overrated.
Oh, okay, yes.
Your face said it all. You thought I was going underrated, right?
Yeah, I was like, don't say that.
Oh no, completely. I don't.
Yes.
I saw what was it, the Huntsman or whatever, Snow White and the Huntsman, and I saw it on a date, and I was way more excited. It was, but I saw the Les Miserables trailer, and that was way more meaningful than what happened afterwards. I nearly cried at the Les Miserables trailer, just because I don't know, I was in a weird place.
Yeah.
But then the Snow White and the Huntsman, I didn't even know that I wanted my money back, but I wanted my money back.
Yes.
And then let's see, underrated. I just thinking off the top of my head, maybe John Travolta.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think he's gotten to a point now where he's
super big anymore, but obviously a prestigious actor.
Yeah,
who no one would think about when they say prestigious actors.
Right. Yeah, I think it'd probably go him or Taylor Taylor Kitsch. He was the guy in John Carter. He was also in Savages.
I got you.
I kind of like him. He's got that nice.
Definitely an up-and-coming.
Yeah. Did you have any?
So yeah, my overrated. This really pains me to say because I actually love this person, but he's been heralded as the next big thing, and his excitement has kind of died down since his little mini year-and-a-half renaissance. I have to say Chris Pratt.
Oh, okay.
Because he is a great guy. He's a fun guy, but a lot of people are coming out saying, like, he's the best male actor. And our definition of actor, good actor, might differ. He's not a good actor. He doesn't have, like, a range of emotion. If you think of
he's got a lot of personality and charisma.
And every role he plays, it's Chris Pratt as, instead of I consider a good actor someone who can inhabit someone else's skin, convincingly portray emotion. Which you think of those people as like Michael Fassbender working right now, or Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh, that's a great choice, Michael Fassbender.
Yes, but I mean, and then so many people. Once we had that kind of back of Lego Movie, Guardians, and Jurassic World, like Chris Pratt's the greatest actor around.
A similar comp to him, I think, would be Samuel Jackson, but in the sense of personality and charisma.
Yeah,
like
he
even
kind
when
of plays the same guy.
even when Samuel Jackson nails in a performance, you still like are enjoying the
Yeah,
performance.
yeah.
I think that's pretty much the same as Chris Pratt.
Yes. Same. I mean, because Chris Pratt, he's like in his good movies, he's endlessly watching.
Oh, yeah.
I love him. He's not like
Totally
a good
agree.
actor though.
100%
He's
agree.
Chris Pratt. My underrated, which I don't think anyone actually trashes on this guy as a bad actor, but he's a huge up and comer who everyone I think should watch out for is Domhnall Gleeson.
Yeah, he's definitely an up and comer because I
Ex
don't even know who you're
Machina.
talking about.
Okay, so have you seen Ex Machina? He was,
was he the guy with the beard?
No, that's Oscar Isaac, the guy who played opposite him, the guy who was the computer engineer.
Okay.
He was in Ex Machina. I mean, way back when he played Ron Weasley's older brother in Harry Potter. He was in The Revenant. He was in that movie Unbroken about the guy who got kidnapped by the Japanese in World War II.
Oh yes.
His father is a really prestigious Irish actor, Brendan Gleeson. His son is Domhnall Gleeson. Like, watch out for this kid because he's got a lot.
All right, good choices. Good choices. My last question for you, Gary. I was perusing Twitter and saw that there was a Tumblr post about how awful a friend Patrick Star really is to SpongeBob. Citing examples such as the time he made SpongeBob think no one liked him when he had bad breath, how Patrick made fun of SpongeBob when he was pretending to be dumb, etc., etc. My question to you, especially being the comic book guy I know you to be, who is the worst sidekick / friend in fictional history?
The worst sidekick.
Yeah, so I mean, I in the likes of Robin, in the likes of Diego, maybe for Dora the Explorer, Backpack or something.
Honestly, I mean, you could go. I mean, my first instinct is to go with superheroes, but
right.
I mean, we could go
Aquaman,
with freaking Dora.
Yeah. Really, what is the map doing if he never shows back up, right?
I almost went Game of Thrones with this. My first thought is honestly Rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy because he kind of like makes everything go terrible before it goes better. He's off the top of my head. I have to put in a lot of thought and think of like all the franchises around.
There's a lot of choices. It just did so much.
Yeah, I'm also thinking like video game terms.
Oh yeah, like Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Dexter.
Yes. If you've played the game The Last of Us, the guy. They're actually super. Yeah, I guess I mean my first answer was Rocket because you got everything.
All right, that sounds great. Your turn.
Well, who you got?
Who do I have? I think that a really good case could be made for Robin. Just in the sense of, I don't even think Batman's a real superhero.
He's not.
Oh, your face dropped.
Sense. He's not a superhero.
Oh, your face dropped. Oh, you're a superhero man, aren't you? You think he's a superhero?
Yes.
Oh, your stutter did it.
What's the definition of superhero?
Oh, Gary.
Do you have to have superhuman
Gary.
powers, or do you just have to be a symbol and a...
I think it means that you have to have something that makes you above and beyond everybody else.
Not just billions of dollars
superpower.
and cool martial arts skills.
Yeah.
Like he has.
Yeah, otherwise, that's, I just don't think he's a superhero. He's also mortal. Like, if I were to put him against Superman, like, not in a movie.
Yeah, the travesty.
Superman would win.
Yes, I mean, well, it's because it's honestly like an unfair fight if you just put them up against each other.
I think you even put Spider-Man up against Batman.
Yes.
Anyways. Did you say you have one more?
I have one more. This is a quick one. What is the worst movie you've ever seen? You already know my answer.
I do. Worst movie I've ever seen.
You gave me your most overrated, but it's just like a trash
because it is different. Because even though I don't think Bambi was like awful,
like
as far as just like
yeah.
I walked out of the theater, I could at least somewhat stomach it. Maybe something along the lines of Borat. You love that movie, don't you?
I don't love it, but I do appreciate Sacha Baron Cohen.
I just I just don't like it.
You can't do it.
I saw it when it came out, so I was definitely younger, and I saw it with my grandma.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, and around the scene where they were running around completely nude, that was when.
Are you thinking about Borat or Bruno?
Borat.
Okay.
Because I think that they were in a hotel room.
I was gonna say it gets worse. Well, you might be thinking.
I never saw Bruno, so
Okay,
I'm
then no.
pretty sure one of them was
Sasha
at least
Baron Cohen
naked.
probably gets naked.
Yeah, well, not Sweeney Todd, but
Not Les Miserables.
no, you can't say he did there either. Hugo, no naked Sasha.
So, but like his movies that he's made.
Yes, that's
He's
correct.
gotta put himself.
Yes. Your answer to that?
In terms of money put into it, expectations versus what we got, it has to be Suicide Squad.
Oh my god.
That movie is an abomination to the human condition. Never watch it. If you find a copy of it, burn it, throw it away.
And are you going to say this about the sequel too? Are you going to give the sequel a chance?
I'm gonna go see them because people read my reviews on them. Suicide Squad review.
Ooh, that's going down in the dark on that. That's like I'll hit him with the stealth mode and kill him from behind. You're making yourself, Gary. You're a hero. You're a martyr. You're going to go see the movies that way nobody else has to.
This hurts me more than it hurts you to read it because I spend $10. I buy my food and I sit there and I take
$26 on popcorn.
$26 on popcorn and a drink at AMC. And
Raisinets are $20.
Exactly. And then you
maybe
go
20
and
pesos.
you just watch a trash movie. I try to be impartial. Like I always go in hopeful, especially with movies that I hope are gonna be bad. But
All right. To close this thing out, because we're both out of this, we both kind of came into this podcast wanting to do just our personal top 5 favorite movies.
To know us a little bit better. What do we consider to be top 5?
Yeah, not even that they have to be the best 5 movies of all time, because I think that there's a difference. Why don't you tell them what your definition of your favorite movie would be?
Are we going 5 to 1 or what?
No, just classify for them like what you think like what your best movies kind of encapsulate, what they are.
It's got to be a mixture of not only like cinematic prestige, but then also for me nostalgia, also endless watchability. Something I never I discover new things every time I watch it. I never get tired of watching it. Just, it's got to be a combination of entertaining, nostalgic, watchable, and prestigious.
All right, I tend to agree. I kind of I simplify mine down more so to just if I'm walking by and I'm doing laundry, knock on wood, but whenever I'm doing laundry, and I'm just like the TV's on and I see a movie on TV and it could be any part of the movie, and no matter what you're doing, you just sit down and you continue to watch the rest of the film. You just have that much love for it, and you're like, I can be entertained.
That's actually
yet
a beautiful
again.
Anecdote.
Yes,
exactly.
I'll go my 5. You go your 5. We'll go back and forth. Yes. All right. My first movie, number 5, Django Unchained.
Freaking fantastic! Actually, endlessly watchable movie.
Great way to choose, right off the bat. I that's one of the few movies that has been able to successfully cater to a fantastic ensemble cast, also with a script and great direction and visibility.
Yes,
and it also had me discover best underrated person, Christoph Waltz.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
my gosh! Yes.
I will literally see anything that he does. Yes, he's fantastic. You're 5.
Number 5 for me, an old comedy classic, Monty Python and the Quest for the Holy Grail. I was introduced to that movie when I was like 5 years old. Also, it's like a big deal in my family to like quote Monty Python, and it just gets more hilarious as I watch it.
I was gonna say what quick one. Which one's your favorite? No, which is your favorite bit?
My favorite bit from Monty Python is either the color, like what's your favorite color over the bridge, or just the ridiculously absurd ending, where the film crew comes and stops them from fighting, and you're like, what? It just blows.
It just makes no sense.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the point of British comedy.
All right. My next one, you might not have heard of it. Okay. It's Radio, but it was the one with Cuba Gooding Jr. It preceded his Oscar win.
Okay.
He plays a mentally challenged man in some southern state. Off the top of my head, it's him and Ed Harris, and it's his journey with Ed Harris as a football coach. Through the football South and how he fights and how they as a community come together through him being a part of the football team in an associate kind of way. And it's a really moving performance from Cuba Gooding Jr. back when he was...
Where is Cuba?
You know what? He became like an action star or something, but like not a star, but he I was renting movies or something, and you walk by and you just see whatever movies that you're like, that came out. And he's been doing like a lot of like action flicks that I've never even heard, and I just didn't see that route for him.
Somebody's got to pay the bills.
Yeah, you gotta when Snow Dogs doesn't get a sequel, then
Yes.
whatever pays the bills. You're number 4.
Number 4 for me, Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
Considered by many to be the best movie made in the past 30 or so years. Pulp Fiction.
Oh yes. Excellent choice.
Yes.
It's either that or Reservoir Dogs. Reservoir Dogs, I didn't get that much.
Pulp Fiction, I mean, that's a staple of American movies. Reservoir Dogs is like an all-time great as well. But if you get like a top 20 best American films list, you're gonna put Pulp Fiction.
It's fascinating that it could dissect a story into that many ways.
Yes.
I
like a masterclass for nonlinear storytelling.
And a perfect, for what you're saying, perfect watchability.
Yeah, oh my god, every time.
Really, no matter what part you get in there.
Yes. Every scene is
by itself too.
Yeah.
And I like how it connects.
Yes.
My number 3, Ray. This is the one with Jamie Foxx. He won the Oscar for it.
Freaking great.
Ray Charles.
Jamie Foxx.
Fantastic performance by him.
The best like musical biopic performances ever. Maybe the best.
Maybe the best. I mean, there's a couple, but
yeah,
definitely, and that's where I think, to your credit, the acting aspect of it comes into play. And there's so many things that I can just really go back and watch. I remember specific scenes of that movie. Every time I see it, it just moves me in just different ways in different parts of my life, whatever is more meaningful to me at the time. I think it has a lot of emotions, too.
Yeah.
And just a great overall movie. Great, fantastic performance by Jamie Foxx, who really shows off his talent in this role.
I mean, he does like one great performance like every 4 years, and you're like, oh my god, you're a great actor. Why don't you do more?
Right.
We also wouldn't have had the Kanye West song Gold Digger without that movie.
That's very true.
Is a national treasure.
Very true.
My number 3, the best movie by my personal favorite director. I don't think he's the best director, Edgar Wright. He's my favorite director to watch. The movie is Hot Fuzz.
Oh,
it is a British buddy cop comedy, like parody. He does genre parody.
Did he do Paul or whatever that was? The alien?
No.
Okay. Same characters, but
yeah. He did Scott Pilgrim.
Okay.
And then he did Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. And Hot Fuzz to me is like almost like my favorite action movie because it's hilarious, and British humor, especially his humor, never gets old for me.
British humor is an acquired taste, but if you got it,
yes,
it's a great movie. All right, here we are going to the top two. My number 2 comes in at The Dark Knight.
Perfectly amazing. Probably like my favorite superhero movie, I'd say.
I like I said earlier, I don't think Batman's a superhero, but in that genre, it's undeniable that is the best superhero movie of all time. And it's not even that I favor superhero movies, as you can see through the rest of my list.
Yeah.
I don't favor superhero movies above all just because of the nostalgia. But I think it's so well done that it set a new tone. It was even like it set a standard for the rest of how superhero movies are going to be. It added a realism where it wasn't there before. And really, I know that some people may argue that Heath Ledger didn't necessarily deserve the Oscar that they gave him. They gave him the edge because of his untimely death.
I think that he was incredible, and his Joker is like the most memorable.
I almost feel bad for anybody who has to do it after him because even though we had Jack Nicholson and him, I think really there's really no other way to interpret that. He put a fresh new perspective on how that character is done, and it worked so poignantly. And I remember when he got cast.
Everyone was like,
along with myself,
the pretty boy from Brokeback Mountain. Why is he playing the Joker? Well, now you know.
Just a performance that came out of nowhere, and it was absolutely perfectly well done. And even the music. I mean, Christopher Nolan. I think that was his coming out party as well.
Yeah, I mean,
just fantastic all the way around.
Like you said about influence and perspective on superhero movies now, I don't think. Because right now superhero movies are the in genre. I don't think that happens if you don't have Nolan's Batman films making them cool again. Right. Because in the 90s, it was like super geeky and dumb.
And they were really hokey. Like they became kind of cheesy. Like
now, I mean, granted, Marvel's movies right now are like really comic booky, but they're like universally loved. Like,
before that, what was the best superhero movie? Probably like Spider-Man, maybe?
I actually
Tobey
love
Maguire's Spider-Man?
Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies. I really enjoy those, but it's on like another level now.
Yeah, no, it definitely bumped the way. All right, you're number 2.
Number 2, arguably the most influential American film of all time, Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay. Now I know that this holds a lot of emotional feelings for you
in my body. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So make your case. Why is it number 2?
Why is it number 2 on my list, and why is it arguably the most influential American film?
Precisely.
Our pop culture is flooded with George Lucas's and Steven Spielberg's mind. How many people? I mean, not everyone has seen Star Wars, but you can go up to anyone on the streets and say, "Luke, I am your father." They're like, yeah, Star Wars.
Oh wow.
And that scene, and it's funny because like everyone knows now, but when audiences watched that scene in theaters, it blew their mind. And Star Wars: New Hope and Empire Strikes Back were the first movies that people went and saw them 10, 15 times because they were like, there'd never been a sci-fi like that. And New Hope was, a fun hero origin story, but then Empire Strikes Back was darker, it was more character-driven, and even more epic. And that's why I think it cements itself as probably the best sci-fi movie ever made.
To add to your point about everything's influenced by George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, one thing that I really liked that they did from a creative aspect is that, for one, George Lucas started that series on episode 4. I thought that was kind of an ingenious way to go about it. It left yourself wiggle room, and it's like almost like calling your shot, right? It's saying, we're going to be good enough to deem necessary a 1 through 3. Now, we can have a separate discussion whether those were actually worthy of that shot, but the point more so is that I liked how they started in the middle. That was just a forward-thinking thought that I really thought was excellent. And likewise, Steven Spielberg in Back to the Future.
Yes.
That he filmed Back to the Future 2 and 3 conjointly. And it's still the only movie to this day that has an in-movie trailer for the next movie.
Oh my God, you're right.
And I think that was just a genius idea that I don't think it has ever, nor could it be. I mean, it could, but it's really hard.
Yes.
But unless if you have that clout as a Steven Spielberg to say that we're going to get another one done.
Yeah. It's funny because I said George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, but Steven Spielberg wasn't even involved in Empire Strikes Back. I was just saying that because he's influenced culture in general. And then George Lucas didn't direct the movie. He obviously did the story, but Irvin Kershner directed Empire Strikes Back, and Lawrence Kasdan wrote the script. Mm-hmm. He actually came back to do Force Awakens. But I mean, obviously, it's all from George's mind.
Right.
It's his brainchild.
Right, and I think that we can gather a lot of influences in modern day movies from those two minds, and then more Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Number 1.
Number 1.
Favorite movie of all time.
Okay, you're gonna make fun of me, but you know what? My heart will go on. My favorite movie is the Titanic.
Yes, I told that's completely respectable. I'm not going to make fun of you for loving Titanic.
You won't.
The way you do.
Other people will. It's all right.
Don't make fun of him. Titanic is a beautiful film. One of the most influential and money-grossing films ever.
The Oscars validated that.
Yes.
With the... actually, did La La Land just succeeded with the most nominations, though?
Most nominations, yes. Most wins is
it's still Titanic and Ben-Hur.
Return of the King.
Return of the King, too?
It's got the most wins.
So then it's Ben-Hur as well, right?
Yes,
Ben-Hur, okay. But anyways, I think it was the first movie that really kind of was that blockbuster that married blockbuster with Oscar winning. Like, it'd be like nowadays the Fast and the Furious 7, which actually some deemed worthy of Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it married those two ideas together, that they weren't mutually exclusive.
Exactly.
And another prime example of an ensemble film that really had great direction, that really married all those elements together and created an award-winning worthy film that is really memorable. Going back to your one-liner, I think it's just really engulfed itself in Americana culture of Hold On to Me, Jack. Selena song. I mean, it really has left a lasting legacy.
Yeah.
And I think it still holds up well. The special effects. Say what you will about James Cameron. I know Avatar is not everybody's cup of tea.
It's an effectsgasm, but he does it better than anyone.
He does it better than anyone. I think that those still hold true, and that helps it.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, it was amazing. And, you asked earlier what is one of my earliest movie thoughts. I do remember seeing Titanic in theaters.
Oh, you saw
I saw it in theaters. And
I saw it when they re-released it, actually. And I was not looking forward to it because I had never seen it, and I actually totally fell in love with the movie. So there you go.
I think it has some holes, as any movie does. As why didn't she let Jack on the door?
There's enough room. Argue with you as to why that's your favorite movie. I totally understand.
At the end of the day, I got to go with Jack and Rose.
You're such romantic, man.
Inside me, there's a lover, not a lover. All right.
That's what you tell them when you go to prison.
I won't tell them.
My favorite movie is Titanic, guys.
I will make a shank out of soap. All right, your turn. Your first one.
My favorite movie of all time, representation of the greatest country in the world, New Zealand, tied for the most Oscar wins of all time. The pinnacle and epitome of epic filmmaking.
You're living the stereotype, Gary.
The greatest fantasy film ever made.
You're being that guy,
from
Gary.
The greatest fantasy novel ever written.
Gary.
The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
Oh, boy.
Not everyone's cup of tea. You can get through the 25,000 endings. It's had a huge influence on how I think, what I like, the tattoos I get, what I enjoy. I've seen that movie more. It's funny because it's like one of the longest theatrically released movies ever. I can quote, and I kid you not, probably 95 to 100% of the whole movie.
How long was it at the end for?
If you get the extendeds, which you have to, it's a rule. It's like 3
hours.
Which you have to. It clocks in, I think. I can watch that movie over and over and over again. I will never get over Frodo and Sam's journey, Aragorn's coming of age, Gandalf saving the day. At heart, I'm a hobbit, and that movie represents peace.
Gary, you're like 6 feet tall. You're not a hobbit.
But on the inside, all I want to do is go to New Zealand and drink ale and live on a farm. That's all. That's all I want to do.
Gary. I'll just be honest with you. I saw, I believe, all 3 movies when they came out, but I was so young when they came out that I don't remember them. And what's unfortunate is that I remember the ending, so I can't go back and enjoy them as new. And I have that meddling thing where
you got to clear your mind, you got to meditate, you got to pop in the extendeds and take a day or two.
Take a day or two. I think
go on this journey, man. It's a journey. It's about self-discovery. It's about love of the experience.
Love of the experience. Well, I hope that the audience listening to this loved the experience of being with us for the past hour and a half. We're going to continue to do this for the next couple of weeks. I think we agreed that Logan's going to be our next movie.
Yes, come back next week. We're going to be giving some hot takes on Logan.
Yes, we're going to review it, and that'll kind of be our standard. This was just a special, Oscar special.
Yes.
But more so what the norm will be, we'll be starting with next week, reviewing a different movie, whatever we want of our choosing. It can be new movies, it can be old movies. Maybe we'll go back and watch The Lord of the Rings. I can actually watch it and see it.
You get Phil's hot take on Lord of the Rings, because I would get him to love this movie.
We will never watch Bambi. Don't get me started. We will... maybe watch some classics, I think.
Yeah,
I think, especially when it comes to, maybe next year with, this year we could have definitely done Singing in the Rain in lieu of La La Land.
Yeah, for sure. Actually.
So, just whatever comes up. Halloween, we'll have a Halloween special one. So, thank you, everybody, for joining Chopped Greens. And until next time, I'm your host, Philip Amerine.
This is Gary Boucher.
And have a great day.